Haha! I fooled you, didn't I? This is actually a really bad game. Haha. Alright, no, it's not a bad game. It's kind of boring, I guess, if you're not into fishing. If you're not into fishing, you've probably clicked the wrong link and you probably need to quit now. However, if you have any interest at all in fishing, it's not bad. It's at least I won't say it's the best fishing simulator ever, because I'm not a connoisseur of such things, but it's at least a fun little excursion into the world of fishing. Here's the wonderful official rules. You've got a generous amount of time. You obviously only want to catch black bass, because otherwise you're just kind of wasting your time and effort. You have a 5 fish maximum. Once you catch more than 5 fish, it'll start going by culling system, and you'll ditch the smallest fish you've got. And the late penalty, over 20 minutes late, and you lose the day. The only possible way you could be late is if you just fall asleep at the keyboard or the controller while you're playing this game, because there's no excuse for being late. Much like in real life, you should always be on time, folks. Always be on time. Here's the great reason for you fishing, I guess. Becoming a pro bass angler. Yep. This is all it takes to be a pro bass angler. Swim around this lake, catch some fish, and don't go insane, I guess, from the wonderfully terrible music. Alright, so we've got this lake here. You can see the fish finder down the bottom right corner. There's your clock. You'll find that that indicator down there at the bottom right has different information settings. When you hit the Y button, you hit it there, it'll tell you information about the specific area you're sitting in, which this happens to be reeds. You've also got the live well, which contains absolutely nothing at this point. The angler data, which just kind of keeps track of the stuff your techniques and your strength level is kind of meaningless. Yes, that's the update, the tournament update list, which will tell you who's currently winning. Usually all it does is takes a couple fish and you'll be up on top of it for a while. Essentially what you want to do is go around, check out the lake, scope out some spots. Anything that looks somewhat interesting is usually a decent place to fish. Even if it says open water, you still might find some things there. It's just a little more difficult than with the weed areas. Weeds or this or spillway, the dock up there. Anyway, once you find these certain spots on the map, it becomes mostly a game of going between spots. You'll find some spots work better at certain times of the day. Others will only work during certain, or work better during certain weather conditions. But all in all, you just find yourself a good spot and you fish it, just like you do normal fishing. Except in this game, there's actually usually fish where you're actually fishing, so that's what separates it from actual fishing. There's always a potential to catch something, which is kind of the reason why I'm kind of playing this game, or let's play walkthrough style edition of the video game, which I don't know if I'm actually going to continue this. I just thought I'd put it up here and have some fun with it. I used to play this game a lot. I grew up during spending my summers fishing a lot down at the Lake of the Ozarks, which, if you've ever been there, can be both a great place to fish and a terrible place to fish, depending on where your mile marker is. Hey, look at that, I got one. I actually got the fish I want to catch this time. But yeah, I spent a lot of my summers down there when I was younger. I had no access to real fishing equipment or a boat that I could take out. So, hey, wow, that's a pretty good one. So, you know, as much as I wanted to try to catch some black bass or catch some larger fish, some of the deeper catfish and things, I didn't really have any access to it since I was restricted to staying in the cove. And outside of bluegill or the occasional small catfish, there wasn't much to do. So it got to the point where I could literally have more fun simulated fishing than I could real fishing. And so as a kid, I often spent hotter days inside playing this game rather than actually attempting to fish because I knew better. Now, in this game, you'll find other fish besides bass. In fact, that right there, that dark blotchy spot right above my bait, is probably not a bass. If I can get him to wake up, I can show you what it is. It's probably a bluegill from the shape of it. Hey, I was right. Well, is he gonna come down here? Yeah, there he is. These are probably the most common fish in all of the North American lakes. They are more or less a nuisance fish. When we used to fish for actual edible fish, such as crappie or even white bass, striped bass, you would end up having these things steal your bait a lot, and they're pretty much worthless unless you get a large amount of them. I've heard you can have a large fish bake, but I honestly never bothered with these things because they're mostly spines and bones. So anyway, enough fish backstory. As far as the game's concerned, you are given this overhead map area like this. There's not really much to say for this specific area, but there's usually 4 different zones in each one. If you cast in a certain area and you don't find anything, you can usually move over a little bit and cast again, and you'll find an entirely different spawn of fish. Other than that, you pretty much are just out to get the big ones, and once you catch enough big fish, once you feel comfortable in having a certain amount of weight score, you can turn it in for the day and see if you come out on top. I mean, the early levels, it's not too hard. You just really need to catch a bunch of the like average size bass, and I don't really want to, thanks, and you're good to go. But later on it'll get more difficult. Like I said, I'm not really sure if I'm going to continue to actually do this in any sort of game playthrough video for the interwebs style setting, because honestly, I don't know if this is a step up from SimCity 2000 or not as far as the entertainment value goes, but I thought I'd stick it up here just for nostalgia's sake and saying, hey, I played this a lot when I was a kid. So I might play something more entertaining. We'll see. If not, maybe I'll drag myself through a fishing simulator for the wonderful internet audience. Anyway, this is Amp, and this has been Super Black Bass, and we'll see you next time on whichever game I should happen to decide to play. Have a good one.